people are going to turn around and say, this just proves, and in fact, that's the official Indian government response, this just proves that Pakistan has been essentially treating Osama bin Laden as a state guest, that while everybody in the establishment may not have known that he was there, some people had to have known that he was there, and Pakistan basically either, depending on which narrative you believe, was either caught unawares by this operation, which was an American operation, or calculated and gave him up at a time that suited them. I'm curious to know which narrative you buy, Musharraf. Do you believe he was... How long do you believe certain people in the security establishment in Pakistan have known where Osama bin Laden has been hiding? And do you believe they opted to give him up, or do you believe the Americans caught Pakistan unawares?
You know, I believe in God and the Holy Prophet, so I have to use my reason to try to understand this. I think no matter which way you're looking at this situation, it's a bad situation for Pakistan. If you believe that Pakistan knew that Osama bin Laden was in Pakistan and was in Abottabad, that's not very good at all. It doesn't say very much for Pakistan's commitment in this war on terror. If Pakistan didn't know that Osama bin Laden was in Abottabad, in the same vicinity as PMA Kakul, then that doesn't speak much for Pakistan's capacity to run its affairs with the world's most dangerous man living so close to Pakistan's equivalent of West Point. So it doesn't look good either way. And I think Pakistan has a lot of problems that it needs to look at internally and solve internally. And while we're doing that, it would be tremendous if India, instead of trying to press home a PR advantage, would actually express words of support, at least for the Pakistani people, because the Pakistani people are victims of Osama bin Laden and his violent and murderous ideology.
Let me take that to Kawal Sibal. India shouldn't drive home the PR point, but you have a Pakistani commentator who's honest enough to say that either way, it looks pretty bad for Pakistan. Either this man, the world's most wanted terrorist, was hiding there with the consent of somebody in the Pakistan security establishment, or as another Pakistani commentator was saying earlier in the day, if they didn't know, they'd have to be highly incompetent. Kawal Sibal, what does this say to India today?
Well, I think, as our Home Minister has said, it proves that Pakistan provides sanctuary to terrorists. In this case, of course, they provided sanctuary to the world's most well-known terrorist. Now, the notion that he was there only for the last 7-10 days and he's been moving all around is not very persuasive. Because even for a moment we accept that he went to North Waziristan and Afghanistan and then northern areas and then came to Abbottabad. This means he's been circulating a lot. A 6'4" man who's easily recognizable, whose face is well known. He wanders all over the place, and with all the disturbances on the ground and the Pakistani military and intelligence operatives and civil authorities and police and law and order people around, they couldn't identify, they couldn't spot him. It just doesn't make sense. It is clear that at some level, very restricted, of course, there was knowledge of his presence, and he was protected. And I think the reason for this is that Pakistan simply didn't want to take the risk of exposing him and then having to answer to his own public and to the Muslim community at large that it had betrayed Osama bin Laden.
NDTV's cricket app, Android and iPhone, fastest scorecard, special analysis, and much more. Download free. NDTV.com/apps.